Hello and welcome to part 6 of my Championship Lode Runner video walkthrough here on YouTube. In this video, I will complete levels 26 through 30. In level 26, you must avoid getting trapped from both sides at the bottom of the board, but you can't put too many enemies out of commission too soon. Level 27 requires you to time a fall exactly, but you can try again if you miss. I found level 28 easy once I observed what happened to enemies that regenerated. Level 29 is a devious one with a ladder structure suspended in midair, and false floors under ladders that can work for or against you. Level 30 really forces you to understand how enemies chase you from a distance. You may run in circles until you do. So the immediate problem that stuck out at me was having enemies on either side, and you can see the pattern I'm using to dig one on the left, three on the right, then one on the right, and then I go down. That gives me plenty of time to sucker the enemy into the pit and make sure that the hole to the left doesn't stay open. If it does, they may come and chase you, and there's a good chance that's fatal, but they might walk into the brick that's healing up and you'll be okay, and you'll just have to do things over again. So now I am going to get rid of this guy, and the thing is I want to, if he'd fallen in the hole and regenerated, I might have had a problem, but I wanted to make sure that the enemy went off to the right or down the center ladder before digging in. And if I dug everybody or 4 of the enemies into the holes, there would be no way to get to the suspended part. So I need to dig 2 into one side, then get the suspended part, then dig 2 into one side. Also about the suspended part, you want to dig either one left or one right of the ladders, just to make sure you don't hit a false floor as you fall down. So there are a few small wrinkles in this level once you figure this strategy. And now we've gotten everybody where we need to put them. The rest is pretty trivial. And I probably got too cute here. I risked getting killed by falling onto the gold. They can reach out to the left and get you. And now I should have gone right and up, but good enough. There are 2 main puzzles here. First, how do you safely get to the bottom? And second, how do you get to the suspended platforms? I like how retrograde analysis is useful here, and I like the solution that threads the needle. It's even worth wasting a life to see how to get to the center platform. The false floor on the left but not the right is cute, and it will probably fool a few people, although you can dig either side to get to the central platform. The false floors on the left and right side of the bottom platform, or lower of the 2 platforms, are nuisances, so I just recommend digging over one gold chest and then running to the other, so you don't fall through before you get them all. Obviously, you can try things again if you slip, but it's kind of a pain. This level is a cute little puzzle, and you may need to be a bit patient and try things more than once. You also want to make sure you get the 2 gold chests in the immediate area. You want to fall on this guy and push up after you do so you don't fall into him, then push right. You have these 2 main levels to get. I can afford to be a bit lazy there to get the bottom level. You need a bit of timing to make sure that you land on the enemy to get the top shelf. Now, it looks like a bit of a problem that that gold's there, but you can just run after it. So, yeah, you could kind of move up and down to get the guy to move back and forth, but it's better just to follow him around. Now here you stay 2 up, and then you, I jumped a bit early there, but when the enemy is about halfway between the wall and the ladder square, you fall right, and then you get on the ladder, and now you will have another fall, but fortunately it's a lot easier than the first one. Again, you want to make sure that you've gotten both of the chests in the main area before doing this, otherwise you'll be stuck. And here you just kind of hold down the L key to go right so that you make it across to this little restricted area. The ladder pops up, and now you will have minimal trouble getting to the top. You can just go a bit up the ladder to chase the enemy right. Patience is all you need.
With all the cement, there can't be any false floors here, and you can probably work out where one end-of-level ladder must be. You need a way out of that dead end. The only question is if extra ladders will appear. If they go up the right, that would make things quicker. Putting a few end-of-level ladders in the row above the top gold chests could potentially be very mean and force us to time when to get the final gold chest, but the game was merciful. To get to the dead end, you need to run right over the enemy twice, and the second timing puzzle is easier than the first. You may need to do some experiments with timing if you don't use my playthrough.
This level is really easy once you figure out how to get the gold chest on the right, but it isn't particularly obvious because you probably won't figure that there are a bunch of false floors on the top. You see what I did? I just waited right of the rope for the enemy to fall down. If I didn't get it then, I could have just dug enemies so that they were killed, and then they would eventually go through that whole gauntlet again. And eventually I'd be able to drop on top of one, fall right, and get that gold chest. Once you know that, this level is really simple. You just have to do some basic tactics of digging a bunch to fend off the enemies, and then getting to the top, and the top left is pretty easy.
This level is relatively easy and quick, but it's still satisfying to figure how to get the gold on the right. Since regenerating enemies take a while to fall through the false floors on the top, you should have plenty of time to run across the long rope to drop on and run over them. You don't need to remember where precisely these false floors are. It's more valuable to note they make the end-of-level ladders on the right useless, and also shield most regenerating enemies from the upper left. Even if one appears in the upper left, one dig gets you by. So yeah, this one's kind of a doozy until you figure out what's going on, and even after that it can be pretty tricky. You notice I'm waiting for everybody to bunch up to the left of me, then I'm waiting for them to fall onto the main structure, and then I have to get that suspended gold. Otherwise I'm locked out of winning. I fall to the left, and now I go to the very bottom as quickly as I can. I can't push everybody to the left immediately, but I do want to get at least the two on the right to fall down and try to chase me, so I can feint back to the upper left, and now I can just fall through anywhere, and now the enemies will come and chase me, and I can just circle around the top. You get them to fall, and then you circle around the top any which way, and I'm so much faster than them that I can do this. The lower ladders are a good place to wait for the enemies to fall off, unless they're just about above you. So that's a general tip. And now I am going to the top of the right side of the structure. Or I think I am. Okay. I'm falling off to the left. What I want to do is get the stuff on the right. And so I kind of faked everyone out here, and I really should be going all the way down. There are pits at the bottom. You do not want the enemies to fall into them until you are sure that they have no gold, because if they do, then you're locked out of winning. But if they don't, then it's easy because you have fewer enemies chasing you. So I did some strategic retreats there. You may too. You don't have the space to dig them, but you can always go with the strategic retreat. And thankfully, the enemies went down and right to try to get to me. And so now I'm just kind of trying to goad them back. And I'm going to go up to the top here so that everybody comes out. And then I'm going to start digging. Here we go. And note how I made this tunnel here, and I let everybody follow me through the tunnel. And okay, I know that one guy that passed over the gold has to have a gold, and so does that guy that just climbed up the ladder. And the thing is that we only need to do this a couple of times to shake everyone down for their gold, or we should only need to. And if we just keep digging, also the enemies will appear in the right, and since the right is cleared, we know we can take care of them. There may be a small problem actually with enemies approaching us from the right, but fortunately, the whole digging the little cavern 3-1 works pretty well. Detailing every single false floor here would just get in the way of big picture plans and strategies. However, we should note the false floor near the right edge. Don't fall into it until the enemies bunch left of you, then wait again to fall left onto the suspended gold after the enemies move left again. If you miss that, you're locked out from winning. On the central structure, the false floors on the edge are most useful to shake enemies. Going to the bottom right will cause some enemies to drop left, and to get rid of the rest, feint to the upper left and then get to the bottom right, so enemies all fall off to the left. You can even give yourself a nice head start before you drop off the central structure. Just go to the very left of the lower ladders. That will make the enemies fall where they can't reach you quickly. You also may wish to clear the right side, then fall left from the top. You'll have time to climb up left before enemies fall in pit traps at the bottom. You don't want them to fall in right away because some should have gold. You'd be locked out of winning. But you need to get past them somehow. My preferred way is to dig the 3 bricks left of the 2 high ladder and the one below them. Enemies will follow you through the cavern you created. Then you can go 2 down at the 2 high ladder below and left. This makes them fall further behind as you escape the lower left. The surest way through this level is to make the cavern I mentioned, then outrun enemies and get any gold they left behind, and do this repeatedly. The false floors help you not get trapped, though if you seem pinned on the left, you can go to the very lower left, run up and right to the top stair, and fall right when enemies get close. There are other ways to use the false floors to take enemies off your scent, and I can't detail them all here, so I gave the one that works best for me. It's worth re-mentioning not to drop enemies that might have gold in pits, but once you're sure, definitely get rid of them. 2 last notes. The end of level ladder on the right gives passage up, but it's better to clear the right early so any regenerating enemies don't grab gold and you can drop them into pits. Also, if you fall off the central structure before getting all its gold, you can actually return by running over a falling enemy that regenerated in the upper left, but the RNG may take a bit of time.
Okay, this one I had all kinds of trouble with until I figured out how to get rid of the enemies and how to make them chase me. It turns out you only need one to chase you, and you just need to make sure that any enemy with a gold chest does not get trapped in either of the middle holes. Also, one useful thing to know is to go into the bottom corner to get the enemies to fall off to the left or right and chase you. So, first thing I want to do is I need to make it so that I can get by these enemies and get to the right. That'll be the easier place to do things because there are only 2 of them. You may have 2 on the left, in which case you'll want to deal with the left first. But let's look at how we deal with the right. That right gold chest looks kind of tricky. We need to remember that enemies go to the left when they aren't on your level and are trying to find your level. So here what I do is I'm going to dig. I'm going to go to the bottom right. Now the enemy is going to go to the left and fall in. That makes it easy to get the right chest. You can't actually miss this. When in doubt, try to tend to the right, but you can also use a vertical sheet of paper to say, okay, yeah, I can drop here and get on the gold chest. It isn't perfectly easy to see. For the center gold chest, you can be right below the center empty square. And here I just fall off to the right, trying to get the enemies to fall in to the pit. I only actually need 1 to fall in, but having 3 of them fall in makes it safer again. I don't want to fall to the right here because that's big trouble. I'll be trapped. And we kind of hope and pray that a ladder will appear for the center one. It sort of has to. There's no other way for us to get out. And climbing back up isn't much of a problem.
It's pretty clear that you'll need a ladder by the central gold chest, as there is no way to dig your way out, even if an enemy has fallen to the immediate left or right. You can't walk over enemies to the left or right either with the cement columns blocking you. Any false floors would make this level a really miserable experience, and also, you shouldn't be surprised that end-of-level ladders pop up on each side near the top, which is nice, so you don't have to worry about which way to go at the end. Just avoid the enemies. though I do recommend dumping enemies into a pit beforehand if possible. That's all there is to this video. Thanks for watching through, and if you enjoyed this enough, giving a like or subscribing if you haven't already goes a long way in encouraging me to share more videos of fun games you may want to revisit or didn't realize you missed. See you next video.